Actually, I thought I would not publish anything this week, simply for the reason that all my projects are either still ongoing or I didn't finish cutting yet. Also, I need to admit the last few weeks were quite rough personally for me, so I thought I would take a small break. But then I was thinking, I want to show you exactly this. I want to show you the not so nice things of traveling around, the difficulties that I have during the travels, and also how I live. And lastly, I want to make a big announcement, because in a few weeks I will be homeless, and I think I'm the only person ever saying this, but I'm super excited. Welcome to today's video. My name is George. Summer 2021 I decided to change my life and to travel around the world, experience countries and its nature in the most raw and authentic way. Spend time with the locals and learn about their life, their way of living, their struggles and how they see the world. If you're new to this channel, join this community of adventurers and travelers. With this channel, I want to take you every week on a new adventure. Show you cultures and traditions, raw and without any judgment. Right now, I am on a mission in the Canary Islands. I want to discover if it's possible to travel these beautiful islands in a raw and authentic way, despite the mass tourism. The last few months I stayed in Madeira in Portugal, discovering the unique landscape, and I even learned how to make the national drink, ponche. Right now I'm on a mission in the Canary Islands. I want to discover if it's possible to travel these beautiful islands away from the mass tourism, learning about traditions and about the locals. The first few weeks I stayed in Fuerteventura before I headed to Tenerife, not only traveling and discovering the Teide National Park. And right now I'm in La Gomera, the second smallest of the Canarian Islands. But it is also the greenest. By following my channel, you probably know that I had to delay the summit of Mount Teide because of the weather situation. And while waiting for better weather, I decided to leave Tenerife for now and head to the next island, to La Gomera, which is where I'm right now. The first few weeks I spent in San Sebastian working on some projects, and now I'm in the town called Agulo, which is actually one of the most beautiful towns of Spain. So let me show you around. La Gomera is, with its roughly 22,000 inhabitants, the third least populated of the Canarian Islands. The island is divided into 6 municipalities, and Agulo is the smallest one. Like all Canarian Islands, La Gomera has a volcanic origin. The island is roughly circular and only 22 kilometers in diameter, but very mountainous and steeply sloping, and rises up to 1,487 at the island's highest peak, Alto de Garjonay. The highest mountain is shaped a bit like an orange that has been cut in half and then split into segments, which has left deep ravines, or also called barrancos, between them. The uppermost slopes of these barrancos are covered by the laurisilva, the laurel rainforest. The culture and traditions of La Gomera are stunning and rich, but about this more in a different video. Agulo is located on the north coast of the island, a small beautiful town. In front, amazing views on the ocean, and if the weather allows it, you can even see Tenerife and Mount Teide. On the backside, you can be overwhelmed by views on an impressive cliff. The evenings here are usually spent walking on one of the nearly uncountable hiking trails, like this one down the cliff of Agulo. Welcome in our apartment, welcome in Agulo. This is where I rented the Airbnb for the last 10 days. It's a beautiful, amazing town with a really, really nice view. Let me show you the apartment. And this is where all the magic happens. This is where I cut all the videos. It's amazing. I really love this spot. You have a beautiful view, sometimes you even see Tenerife. What are actually the requirements for me for finding Airbnbs? Usually I travel quite on budget, simply for the reason that I have a big project starting in spring where I need to make some investments, but I share you later more about this. Right now, one thing that I realized is that traveling is only very limited possible, because obviously I have a regular job that pays my bill, and Monday to Friday 9 to 5 I need to work basically for my regular job, and in the evening I usually I make some workout, and then I start editing and cutting my videos. And then basically the adventures, so the actual traveling part, is only possible in the weekends, so Saturday, Sunday. And right now it always feels a bit like that I wait the whole week until I can basically then traveling. And in order to compensate this a bit and to allow me to see also during the week some other things, I decided to not always stay in the same city, which would be cheaper and more comfortable, but basically to travel around Like here in Agulo, I stayed now for 10 days and now I'm heading back to San Sebastian because of some projects. But basically I try to have some iteration and then be able to see different towns, different people, with my mission of escaping the mass tourism. This gives me also the possibility to move to towns that are less touristy. Anyways, today is also a big day. Today I'm moving, I'm already packing, so there is a big mess in the house, and let me show you also how I travel around a bit. It's quite painful, I guess. If you watched my loadout video from Tede, you can tell that I have a lot of equipment with me, and I'm a bit of an equipment junkie, so this minimalism for hiking gear is very difficult for me. So I took again way too much. I reduced drastically after my experience in Madeira, but still I took way too many things. This is one of the learnings that I have and that I will also need to change for future adventures. I will take only one setup, one equipment and so on. Let me show you what I have. Firstly, I have here all my equipment. This is my big backpack. I think it's 75 liters, something like this. Here is all my hiking gear, additional all the hiking clothes. Then I have here my other backpack. Here I have almost everything else, like some more clothes, sports gear. Inside there is also my regular clothes. I started with 7 socks, 7 underwear, 7 t-shirts, so I can live with 1 week. I don't have any pullovers or something because I use the hiking stuff and in the city. I also took only 1 regular trouser because like now I'm using them just the hiking trouser. And shoe-wise, I have my running shoes and the hiking boots, that's it. And now pack my stuff, finish the packing and then head out of the apartment. I need to leave at 11 and it's now 10:15. No, it's actually 10:50. So I have 10 minutes to finish my packing and then head out of the apartment. This is the worst part of all this traveling, packing, unpacking. But I'm already pretty fast. I normally can do it in around half an hour, which is my record. And this is how it looks. This is basically my 2 backpacks that I use also for regular tours. Like the big one I will use for the Tede summit and the small one you saw already in all my videos here in the Canaries. Everything packed and time to leave the Airbnb. It's getting heavier and heavier, I don't know why. Don't forget the mask. This is what I call the donkey move. Ready to leave the apartment. So today is actually a quite unlucky day because the checkout in my previous Airbnb here was at around 10 and the check-in of the next place is around 4 o'clock, and in between I need basically to stay here in a coffee because also the buses are not that frequent, so I need to wait until 2 o'clock where I can then take the bus from here to San Sebastian. The problem is at 2:30 I have a meeting, so I need to try to move this meeting somehow so I can catch the bus and continue on working in San Sebastian. Normally I try to time it somehow better, that I either go before work or after work, because otherwise I need to move my lunch break always around for traveling. Going up the elevator, ready to check in. It's now 6 o'clock, so I spent another couple of hours in a coffee in San Sebastian. And now heading to the apartment, finally being able to check in. Alright, fully checked in, arrived in the apartment, and I need to say I'm super hyped for it because it has this amazing balcony on top of San Sebastian. Let me show you. Whoa. There's the beach on the harbor of San Sebastian, and in the back you have the beautiful and stunning view of Gomera. Before I tell you exactly the reasons how and why I become homeless and why I'm excited about it, I want to tell you a bit about the downsides of traveling around and my biggest pain points, and also I want to share with you quite honestly why I'm having a rough time the last weeks, and also how I plan to change this, which is actually related to becoming homeless. So let me first unpack and then I will share some stories. So one thing that I started in the last weeks to do before I actually live directly out of the backpacks, now I try to always unload everything, put it in the closet to simply have a bit more coziness and also keep better order. I think it's improved a lot my life, even though it's a bit more work, but now I'm already really fast, so I can unpack this in probably 10 to 12 minutes.
I followed a bird and it led me to pastures new, and it showed me the sky was blue when all I could see was grey. I danced with the wind and it carried me so high I flew, and it gave me another view, one I had never seen. I know you think that things don't change when life gets in the way.
Successfully landed in San Sebastian and made myself like home. And I also went to the hairdresser today, and probably you know it already, but I'm really bad with languages in general, and even though I learned Spanish 4 years in school, I know almost nothing anymore. So going to the hairdresser is a bit like playing roulette, but it worked out pretty well. Anyways, I really enjoy being back in San Sebastian. I felt a bit in love with this town, and I wanted to take now the time to talk with you about what I said at the beginning, that I had a bit of a rough time and rough weeks behind me, and I want to share this a bit with you. And I need to say I'm super thankful that I'm that privileged and that lucky that I can basically do exactly this traveling around, basically living my dream of seeing new places, learning about new cultures and meeting new people. But I also want to be transparent with you and open with you and tell you what are basically the struggles that I have. One of the reasons why I travel is to meet people, and that's why I also make these sort of documentaries and also trying to show you the life of certain people, because I think doing this kind of traveling you meet super inspiring personalities and super inspiring people. And what I need to say, despite that, sometimes this whole traveling can be really, really lonely, especially because my days are super packed. So Monday to Friday, morning to evening, I'm basically working for my actual job. In the evening, I make maybe a workout, but then I continue working and work on the videos, cut or edit, or even plan some tours. And there's not really much time to meet anyone outside of this part of adventures. So simply having a glass of wine or maybe work out together with someone in the evening, this is not really possible. And it's one of the things that's, I think, my biggest struggles that I learned in the last months, that I really miss this social interaction. The second thing is what every YouTuber needs, like the air to breathe, is views, subscribers and watch time. And I guess everybody who makes YouTube was probably also in the trap that he got obsessed with the analytics and the statistics. To avoid this from the beginning, I tried to set up sort of goals and approach it more from a long-term plan. So I have certain goals that I want to achieve and to reach in a certain time frame. So the daily statistics are actually not that important. But still, I sometimes end up looking too much in the statistics and get really frustrated and also upset by it, because I think maybe it should have performed more, or I think I put a lot of effort in a certain thing and I'm getting upset that it's not appreciated. And sometimes you think, why do I actually doing all this? And you go in this endless trap of thinking about this and not really coming out of this. A few years ago, as a result from a small burnout from work, I started to have issues with anxiety. Nowadays I can perfectly live with it because I understand a bit better my body and also how to take care of my mental health. But one important thing that I learned from that was that if I am passionate about something, I can put endless energy in it. And all this traveling and also producing videos for you guys, I can put endless energy in. I can sit the whole night making a perfect video, making the small parts even more perfect. But if it's about my regular job, what I learned is that it drains me a lot. Doing the work, I feel sort of artificial, fake, maybe even trapped. It's difficult to describe, but despite the fact that I'm not passionate about this work, is that it really frustrates me that I have this block of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, where I'm basically not able to travel because I need an apartment, I need internet, I need to be available, I need to be present. And of course also need to do a good work as best as I can. And then it ends up frustrating me during the day, and in the evening where I want to do what I'm passionate about it, I take sometimes these frustrations from the day job with me. Of course there are also some other issues and challenges that you have when you travel full-time around, and I also want to share those with you. I need to say most of them I expected, but what I didn't expect is that it impacts me that much, especially if you combine it with other frustrations. For example, the frustration that I have because of YouTube, because as I said before, you expect a faster growth, you maybe get a bit obsessed with the statistics, or also the other frustration that I have because I'm not able to manage the time as I want to, because I have this blocked time from Monday to Friday 9 to 5 where I need to work. And if you combine this, then the frustrations get even more, and some stuff has even more impact on you. Some problems can be related or can be traced back to the fact that I cannot manage my time. For example, that I eat a lot of not so healthy food because I don't have the time to cook. But of course, not everything is related to this. There are also general challenges that you have. For example, sometimes you end up eating not so healthy food because there's no supermarket in the town that you live, or the supermarket is really small and has no other foods than some canned foods. Generally, I need to say that comfort is one of the biggest topics and the biggest challenges. You have disgusting showers, or like a bed that impacts your sleep, or simply you end up in an apartment that you really cannot stand, but that's the apartment for the next 10 days. And also what is very difficult, I guess it's especially here in the Canaries, is buying something or ordering things. For example, if I need to add some more equipment, I either need to travel a lot to find a place where I can, for example, buy camping gas, or I order it, which ends up taking a lot of time because there's a special tax system and needs to go through customs. In general, you can expect everything that you do 10 times more difficult because you don't understand the system or you don't speak the language. As I said before, I expected most of those problems, but compared with the other frustrations, this stuff weighs suddenly way more. And then also, if you're already frustrated because other things, then the friend that you miss already seems even farther away. Of course, there are also other parts that are sometimes difficult or annoying, but for me that were the biggest pain points. And this leads probably to the most pressing question: is it worth it? Obviously, this is a very subjective question, so let me answer it from my perspective. To answer this question, let's look why I'm actually traveling. I travel because of the characters and the personalities and the faces I meet along my travels, and to discover the world, the beautiful parts of it, but maybe also the not so beautiful and the darker parts. And with this I get experiences that I will have a lifetime, and nobody can actually take it ever away from me. And for this I happily exchange my comfort and exchange these memories that I have forever against a king-size bed. And exactly this is what I remind myself always if I am in doubt, or if I'm questioning if I do the right thing. Even with all the pain or the problems or the dramas that can occur by traveling around, it is worth it for me, and I will definitely continue it. And the fact that I cannot live from producing content and from making YouTube videos, I cannot change. And I cannot change that I need to have a main income in order to survive. What I can change is to gain more independence and to not only travel Saturday and Sunday. And this is basically also how I will become homeless. So what are actually the biggest limitations for me? First of all, it is that I can only travel during the weekends because I don't have the time during the week. And the second limitation is that I need always an Airbnb that I rent, because I need to be available for meetings, I need to have electricity and internet. So I started to think, how can I reduce this and basically start continuous traveling and reduce the Airbnbs. First of all, the continuous traveling I can achieve if I'm able to have something continuous ongoing, a mission or something that I also can try to make during the week. Secondly, the Airbnb is easy. I can just move into a tent most of the time. The internet I can have with a mobile internet, and the electricity I can have with solar panels. But this of course requires me to, first of all, make some investments. Second of all, it requires me to be flexible, and if I don't have sun I cannot recharge, so I need to go to a coffee or something. So I want to set challenges for myself and missions. And the first mission that I want to set for myself is what I told you already in a previous video. I want to climb the highest mountain of every European country. From the smallest hill, like in the Netherlands, I think Luxembourg is the smallest one with some 100 meters, to the highest one in Kazakhstan with 7,000 meters. And I don't want to just go again in the different countries and maybe explore. I want to be mobile and be basically independent from everything else. And that's why I will move on my bike and will move across Europe and combine this bike packing with adventures like hiking, kayaking or whatsoever, the peaks of Europe. And lastly, I will combine it as well with culture and basically continue meeting people and also presenting you their life. There's another big limitation, and this limitation is money. In order for me to move on my bike, I need to have a lot of equipment. First of all, I need a bike. Second of all, I need bags. Third of all, I need solar panels and also sort of a mobile internet. And I don't really have the money for this. But what I have is something that I actually don't use. I have an apartment in Lisbon that is empty that I don't use. And in order to be able to get all this equipment, I decided to get rid of this apartment and then save the money and also use the deposit to buy this gear. And this is actually a very, very scary thought, because it means that I have no home. And all the stuff that I have, I need to sell. Starting from a TV up to some training equipment that I have at home, to my PlayStation, I will sell everything and also use this money to make these investments. And this is the plan. I have amazing news, because the first problem is solved. I got my bike. It arrived at the house of my dad a few weeks ago, and with this the biggest problem is solved. I contacted also my landlord. We agreed on a termination date of the apartment, and the next steps is like to buy the gear and to get rid of my apartment, rid of my stuff that I have in my house. And for right now, I will stay still a couple of more weeks here in the Canary Islands, and then I will head to Lisbon, stay there 1 month, get rid of all the stuff, get rid of the apartment, hand it over in good conditions, and then I will head to my dad's house, assemble my bike, buy the rest of the equipment, and then we hit the road. First question you might ask now is, where are we heading to? To be honest, I don't know yet. I'm currently planning a bit, and as I said, I want to involve you, my community, in the process of deciding where we are going and what we are seeing. Many of you previously suggested we are heading to Romania, and for this I came up with the idea to follow the Danube from beginning to end. But right now I'm not so excited about this anymore, because apparently this trail, or this bike trail, is very, very frequented, so I'm thinking about different options. What is fixed that we head to all European countries, because we need to go to the highest peak in every European country. And what we see, where we go and how we go, I want to decide with all of you together. And for this I want to invite you to join me on Instagram, and let's have the discussion there. And one of the ideas that I'm currently working on is maybe to follow the Iron Curtain, the old Iron Curtain. And for this, heading also to Scandinavia, then the Baltics, and then to East Europe. And in each country, not only bike through it and make the highest mountain, but also discover the culture and maybe make some other adventures along the way. It's a very rough idea so far. I also don't want to overplan it. I want, as I said, decide very spontaneous or more or less spontaneous together with you where we are heading to. And if you're from one of these countries and you want to show me around or invite me or show me something, let me know on Instagram. And I hope you're as excited for me. I need to say, this is really no joke. I'm super nervous, because getting rid of the apartment and basically being homeless, not having a home, is a very scary thought. But I'm also super hyped, super excited, and I can't wait to start this adventure. And we will have more untraveled roads to discover. I hope you're excited as me, and that you will join me for all upcoming adventures. And even this was not a normal adventure or travel video, I still hope it gave you some insights about how the life as a full-time traveler is, what are the struggles, what are the problems, and also I wanted to show you how a regular day in my life looks like, how I travel around, and share also these parts with you. See you next week for a new adventure. Ciao, ciao.